Welcome to the Collaborating for EL's online course. I'm Tan Nguyen, and I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to facilitate your learning. I know how busy you are professionally and personally, yet you've made this investment in time and money because you value learning. Instead of talking at you, I will sprinkle in learning activities to actively engage you. And you can use these activities to teach your students. The first one is called Photo Bank, and I will use it to provide a bio of myself. Participants find it useful to know my teaching context since I base this course on my experiences implementing research-backed strategies. I will display one photo at a time. Your job is to use the photos to describe my experience. I work with beginning ELs completely new to English. I work at international schools where we value group work and inquiry-based learning. I also work with content teachers to help them teach ELs. I've lived and taught in Laos for 6 years, and now I work at an international school in Thailand. You can use the photo bank strategy when starting a new unit or topic. Present images and have your students form a narrative using the images. It's an active way of building background knowledge. I would like to orient you to the structure of the course. Each week, we'll go through the structure. Starting next week, we'll begin each video by highlighting the work that was done by fellow participants. Then we'll explore a guiding question for the week through a pre-recorded video. Using Voxer and WhatsApp, we'll work to explain and synthesize our ideas. We use Voxer to host whole group chats. You'll be paired up with another member, and you'll use WhatsApp or Voxer to have asynchronous small group chats. We'll talk more about that later. To apply the concepts, I offer various platforms for engagement, all of which are optional, but the more you do, the richer their experience. Finally, we'll extend our understanding by synchronously meeting every week to chat about each of the week's concepts or anything related to teacher collaboration. But there is no new content presented during the live sessions. Though we use a lot of platforms, Google Classroom is the main hub for everything in this course. I scripted this course in January 2019 and finished editing it in December 2019. Then COVID-19 struck in February. You will find that the things I recommend about teacher collaboration can work virtually as well. It did for me when we went to lockdown. If COVID-19 wasn't enough, in May, we witnessed protests that sought to challenge systematic racism. If we collaborate with teachers successfully, we can make school a more inclusive and equitable experience for our Indigenous and minority students. At the end of the video, I'll share how the weekly concepts can be applied to distance collaboration and anti-racism work. I encourage you to also talk about virtual collaboration and anti-racism with your thought partner. We can also talk about these topics during our live co-planning sessions. You're here most likely because you want to learn how to create and nurture a collaborative partnership that supports English learners. To reach that goal, I've created videos to share research-backed strategies and real examples from my own class. One of the best ways to process content is by sketchnoting. Here's a video from Edutopia about the power of taking visual notes. What you're looking at are my sketch notes. I took these when I attended a session on positive school psychology. Notice how I use simple drawings, text, and diagrams to process the information given. Notice how they're also not beautiful and they're not meant to be perfect. The goal of sketchnoting is to help you process information in a meaningful way instead of just passively listening. If I can do this, I know you can too. I'm excited to see your sketch notes. In these 5 weeks, I would like you to sketchnote one of the videos as a form of sketchnoting. Then share it on Voxer so we can all be impressed by your thoughtful note-taking skills. I want to emphasize how important it is to engage with your fellow participants because the smartest person in the room is the room. Let's meet some of your fellow classmates.
Hi, I'm Holly. Fun fact about me, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Middle East in the early 1990s. I currently work in New York City for the Department of Education. I'm an instructional coach in Bronx high schools, and I work with E&L teachers and their co-teachers. And I joined this course because I really enjoy empowering ELs, and I felt it would be a wonderful way to refresh and connect and learn and get ready for the 2020-2021 school year. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Virginia Lowe, and the fun fact about me is that I just had a birthday in May and I turned 60. And I remember years ago thinking, wow, that's really old when someone was 60, or when I was 50 and I was still teaching first grade, my students were just amazed that I was almost 100. So I decided that I'm just going to embrace 60 and love every moment of it and be grateful for the good health that I have and make it a positive year in this crazy 2020. I currently serve as an instructional facilitator with the Office of School Improvement in Arlington, Texas. I was a teacher for 36 years before becoming a coach. I did that for 4 years, and the last 2 years I've been working with the school improvement team. Collaborating is a big part of what I do, so I'm so excited to take this course to learn more about how I can use these skills and strategies to help my campuses be successful. And so I'm looking forward to collaborating and learning with you all.
As of July 28th, we've had several teachers respond on Flipgrid for their hello introductions. Also, thank you for taking the time to respond to other people's introductions. If you haven't created a Flipgrid to introduce yourself yet, please do so. Also, please respond to at least 2 of your fellow classmates' recordings. This starts to create a culture of interaction and trust. After running several online courses now, I noticed that participants who completed the online course were always people who felt connected to the cohort. That's why I'm creating group chats to help you feel connected to your fellow participants. We'll use Voxer for informal whole group discussions about teacher collaboration. It's just like WhatsApp. You can send videos, pictures, text messages, but most people use it to send voice messages. If you have a question during the week, ask it on Voxer. Anyone can answer. If you found a resource that's really exciting, share it on Voxer as well. We also have an opportunity for small group chats. By Tuesday of the first week, I will notify you of your assigned thought partner. You will have your own group on either WhatsApp or Voxer. You can decide to gather the platform. Throughout the week, send messages to your partner. You can share a takeaway from the video, ask a question, share how you are implementing a strategy in your class, or ask your partner about an opinion on a topic. Just fill out the Google form for week 1, and I'll add you to a group. Happy chatting. Let's watch a video about how Voxer works.
Phone calls and texting are inefficient and time-consuming. With Voxer, talk and connect instantly with your team from wherever they are. Create one-on-one or group chats and communicate using audio, text, photos, videos, and yes, of course, even GIFs. All messages are sent in real time, saved, and stored, so rest assured your entire team will be in sync regardless of who's on call that day. It's the fastest way for high-performance teams to communicate by saving you what you need most in your day: time.
What you're seeing now is the scrolling chat from our Scaffolding Learning September 2019 on Voxer. Notice how people are sending images, they're sending voice recordings, they're sending text messages to each other to support each other's learning. And this is the power of our group text message on Voxer. Please send me a Voxer message once you download the app, if you haven't already. Then I will add you to our group chat on Voxer. In this course, there are 3 levels of engagement. The first level is what I call a drive-through experience. You are free to watch the videos and do nothing else. Watching the video alone is still a beneficial experience. The second level is called the salad bar level. You create your own experience just like creating your own salad. You can pick and choose the activities you want to engage with. The last level is the food tour experience. You watch all the videos, do most of the activities, and attend many of the live co-planning sessions. This is the richest and most interactive experience at this level. I encourage you to go for the food tour experience, but do what's best for you. Okay, now for the content of this week's video. Each week, I will start the content section with an open stimulus. This week, I'm gonna have you watch a short video clip from Lewis Howe's interview with Michael Hussey. As you watch, think about how this stimulus connects to a teacher's collaboration.
An incredible connection is like you meet someone, you connect, and you have a great plot of land. This plot of land could be great because it's in the middle of a forest, could be great because it's on the cliffs overlooking the ocean. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful place to build.
That's the connection.
Still just a connection, but it's still just a plot of land. Right? Let's see it for what it is. It's potential. Yeah. Still just a plot of land. Now what you need is 2 builders. 2 people who are going to build something here. And that requires 2 people who show up each day and lay brick after brick after brick after brick. And slowly but surely create a castle.
Please pause the video and do a quick write to explain the connection this video has to teacher collaboration in the comment section of this YouTube video. Yes, I want you to write it in the comment section. Before I explain the purpose of showing you this clip, I want to explain the opening stimulus strategy. The first part of the activity is to have students view a stimulus. The second part is to have students informally write about the stimulus to process the content. The last part is to have students share their thinking either with a partner at the table group or as a whole class. It's a wonderful strategy to support synthesis of content knowledge. Teacher collaboration is like building a plot of land. The land holds lots of potential, but it can't create a castle on its own. Building a castle requires that we work together to design, construct, and decorate. Whatever we build must have a sturdy foundation. The foundation of teacher collaboration is our mindsets. Following the Understanding by Design model, I have set an enduring understanding for this course, which is collaboration is a process, not an event. I also have set guided questions for each week. The inquiry question for this week is, why are collaboration mindsets the foundation of teacher partnerships? We'll explore this week's guiding question just a little bit later, but first, I want to share one piece of research related to content and EAL teacher collaboration. Prior to 2003, the public schools of St. Paul's, Minnesota, which is an urban school district, had an ESL population where ELs were pulled out of their mainstream classes several times per week to receive targeted English instruction provided by the ELD teacher. Then in 2003, the school district moved to a collaboration model where both content and ELD teachers taught together. And ELs remained in the same room with non-ELs. Pardini, studied the 2005 standardized assessment results and found that the reading gap between ELs and non-ELs dropped from 13 to 6%, and the numeracy gap also decreased from 6.7 to 2.7. Pardini also compared these results statewide and found that St. Paul's outscored all the other districts in the state. Pause the video and think about the possible reasons why the achievement gap between non-ELs and ELs narrowed in St. Paul's. My possible answers are: the content teacher developed more awareness of the need to teach the language of their content, and the ELD teacher worked with the ELs in content classes to make content more comprehensible. In a nutshell, maybe the increased achievement occurred because the teachers in St. Paul were no longer working in isolation, which is what Dan Lordy suggests in his book, School Teacher. He said the greatest impediment to school improvement is teachers working alone. To parallel Lordy's theory, Judith Warren Little examined the differences between the most and the least effective schools and found that the most effective ones had a greater degree of collaboration. Andrew Hogensfeld and Maria Dove, the gurus of EL teacher collaboration, translated Little's key ideas into a framework called the 4 C's of collaboration. Collaborative conversations means teachers engaging in frequent, continuous, and increasingly concrete, precise talk about teaching and learning. Collaborative coaching means teachers engage in useful feedback on their teaching practice. Collaborative curriculum means teachers plan, design, evaluate, and prepare teaching materials together. Collaborative craftsmanship means educators teach each other the practice of teaching. I would like to share my 3 fundamental mindsets of collaboration. These icons represent the 3 mindsets. Pause the video to see if you can guess what kind of mindsets they are. Side note, this is a strategy too. It's called inductive icons. Present icons to represent a concept. Students then have to infer the concept represented by the icon. Okay, pause the video. My first mindset is construct. Come to the partnership with the intention of building on each other's strengths, expertise, and personality. Build on, never dismantle. The second mindset is flow. Come to the partnership with flexibility, adaptability, and gentleness. Remember, over time, the sharpest edges of a stone melt under a gently flowing stream. The last one is plant. Plant ideas and suggestions. Let them take root over time. Never insist on ideas. Different ones will bloom at different times. You can't harvest crops if you haven't planted the seeds seasons ago. These mindsets guide me in every co-planning session and every co-teaching opportunity. Without them, I fear that I'll be just reacting to experiences rather than deciding how I want to respond. For this week's optional assignment, I'll give you several engagement activities to differentiate the task. You can choose to do any that you like. One of them will be to identify destructive mindsets, and another will have you create your own mindsets and select icons for them. You can easily go to the Noun Project or Flat Icons to get free icons. These mindsets can fan out into different principles of teacher collaboration. Here are a few of them. Consider what might each one of them mean to you. These principles ground my work with teachers. When I share these with teachers, they usually ask, "What does mental speak monitoring mean?" Here's a video that describes the essence of this principle.
Catherine Ingram tells a story about a friend of hers who was in a grocery store in California, and the friend was going up and down the aisles, and she became aware of a mother with a small boy moving in the opposite direction. And this is how the friend describes it. They were meeting us head on in each aisle. The woman barely noticed us because she was so furious at her little boy, who seemed intent on pulling items off the lower shelves. As the mother became more and more frustrated, she started to yell at the child, and several aisles later had progressed to shaking him by the arm. At this point, my friend spoke up. A wonderful mother of 3 and founder of a progressive school, she had probably never once in her life treated any child so harshly. I expected my friend would give this woman a solid mother-to-mother talk about controlling herself and about the effect this behavior has on a child. I was braced for a confrontation. Instead, my friend said, "What a beautiful little boy. How old is he?" The woman answered cautiously, "He's 3. My friend went on to comment about how curious he seemed and how her own 3 children were just like him in the grocery store, pulling things off shelves, so interested in all the wonderful colors and packages. He seemed so bright and intelligent, my friend said. The woman had the boy in her arms by now, and a shy smile came upon her face, gently brushing his hair out of his eyes. She said, "Yes, he's very smart and curious, but sometimes he wears me out." My friend responded sympathetically, "Yes, they can do that. They're so full of energy." As we walked away, I heard the mother speaking more kindly to the boy about getting home and cooking his dinner. "We'll have your favorite, macaroni and cheese," she told him. You can feel in that psalm how, for this school teacher, she may have in the past felt judgmental and been critical and come out with it even, or kept it to herself but had a tightness, right? Certainly for most of us, when we see a parent treating a child like that, that's the reaction. Yet something in her inner training saw beyond this woman's behavior to someone who was worn out and was kind of past her window of tolerance and was, just was reacting from a place of really being exhausted or frustrated or whatever, and her heart was open, and she actually responded in a way that could reach this woman. Had she been critical, it would have been pure defense. It was a bodhisattva moment. That's the training and seeing past the conditioning to the vulnerability, past the behavior.
Mental speak monitoring means realizing that the thoughts we have about our teachers determine the way we collaborate with them. Just like the frazzled mother in the story, when she changed the way that she saw her child, her relationship with her child changed. I'm not asking you to have only positive thoughts about your colleagues. Geez, that would be hard for me to do as well. If we're going to have thoughts running around about teacher collaboration, why not have these thoughts? I can skillfully work with anyone. I can find ways to serve students alongside my colleagues. I can forge a working relationship with my colleagues. These statements do not ignore that my colleagues might be resistant. They simply remind me that I can only control my actions. There is freedom in focusing on what we can do more than focusing on forcing others to do what we want them to do. I have found that mantras and metaphors help me embody these principles the most because they are like little stories or visuals to help me remember the core of collaboration is relationship nurturing. After reading these mantras and looking at these principles, pause the video and in the comment section, write which one touches you the most in your work. Please also take time to read and comment on fellow participants' responses as well. You can read more about the mantras and metaphors for collaboration by going to this article on my blog. One of Robert Mazzano's high-yield instructional strategies is creating metaphors to synthesize a concept. For me, collaboration is like the seasons. Why do you think this is my favorite metaphor for collaboration? Pause the video and give yourself time to think. The seasons is my favorite metaphor for collaboration. Some relationships are cold and slow-moving, while others are vibrant and warm. We can't control the weather, just like we can't change people or force people to do things against their will. We can only adapt to the weather. If we don't, then we'll be tormented by it. This doesn't mean we have to be submissive or lose our voice when collaborating. It just means we have great freedom in choosing how to adapt to the weather that we cannot change. Take, for example, the different things we do in the middle of winter. We can engage in winter by building a snowman, having a snowball fight, going sledding, skiing, or even building an igloo. Likewise, think about all the ways we can still serve ELs who are being taught by a teacher who is hesitant to adapt EL strategies. For example, let's say that you're working with a teacher who loves lecturing and does not want to change the approach for ELs. This is a winter relationship because of the cold refusal to implement more EL strategies. One thing you can do is, as the teacher is lecturing, you can sit beside the EL, type notes in English, then have the EL translate your notes into their home language. I did this for a Japanese student who was new to English when she was learning in science class. In that example, I couldn't control the teacher, but I can control what I can do in that situation for that EL. In this week's assignment, one of the optional activities will have you describe a scenario for each of the different seasons. Then you are to describe what you can do to adapt to that season while still serving ELs. If you choose to select this option, please complete all 4 seasons. This is the practice that we need to have when working with our colleagues if we want to cultivate a dynamic relationship. To really develop a great relationship with your colleagues, we need to know what they value. This exercise I've adapted from Andrew Huggensfeld is called Head, Heart, Feet. It helps us take stock of our colleagues' values so that we can interact with them with this in mind. Head means what is intellectually important to your colleague. For example, a colleague might really value teaching content more than process. Heart means what's emotionally important to your colleague. An example might be that they feel happy when students are engaged in group work. Feet means what your colleague values about their physical space. This might mean that they value clean surfaces in their room. Our greatest superpower when collaborating is the ability to observe our colleagues. Through observation, we can identify what they value and work with those values, even if they're in opposition to our own. I see my colleagues' values as building blocks or raw materials. Through time, I will be better able to build on their values and see them as resources to work with, not against. In this optional assignment, you will have a chance to go through the head, heart, feet exercise for one of your colleagues. Remember, when doing this, focus on the positive values. This ends the content part of the video. Let's return to our inquiry question of why are mindsets the foundation of collaboration? To help you process this inquiry question, I'd like to share a strategy with you that I use with my students called mind mapping. Here's how mind mapping works. At the center of the page is our central concept or topic. After completing each experience or upon finishing a text related to the unit, we stop to reflect on what the text or the experience has added to our understanding of the concept. At the center of this course is teacher collaboration. At the end of the week, please go to the mind map and reflect on how the content of this particular week adds to your understanding of teacher collaboration. I love mind mapping so much because it helps students see the connection between a sequence of learning experiences, which develops higher order thinking skills. It also prevents them from saying, "Why are we doing this?" They come to realize that every text we read and every experience we have is connected to the central concept. I've already created a mind map document where we can all work on our mind maps together. You'll find a blank mind map on Google Classroom. Please claim one and add your name to it. To personalize it, you can add a Bitmoji. If you don't have a Bitmoji yet, you can Google a video called How to Make and Use a Bitmoji. They're so much fun. I invite you to pause the video and complete this STEM. Collaborative mindsets are essential during virtual collaboration because effective collaboration is built on relationships. The things that are required to build an in-person relationship are the same things required of virtual collaboration. Because we're dealing with another person, it needs to be respectful. Just remember these virtual collaboration etiquette tips. Turn on your face camera, turn off your mic when not speaking, tell your coworker if you have to move away from the laptop, refrain from snacking or eating, drinking's fine. When someone is speaking, look at them instead of multitasking by scrolling through other websites or other documents. They can tell when you're not listening. And if you're wearing glasses, they can see the reflection of the screen on your lenses. If you have to look for a document, let them know first. As for anti racism work, the collaborative mindsets make inclusive learning possible. When someone is attacked, they defend themselves or attack back. Instead, we are respectfully persistent in making learning more inclusive for minority students. Having collaborative mindsets disarms us and our colleagues so that we are able to have discussions about inclusion. Yes, we do need to have difficult conversations with our colleagues about race, but they don't have to be disrespectful ones. This ends the content part of this week's video. And now, on to the menu of engagement options. You are not required to do any of these, but the more you do complete, the more you get to process the content and interact with your fellow classmates. They have years of teaching experience that we can draw from. When you complete the assignment, please go to the Share button, scroll down to the Share option, and select Comment Only. Then copy the link and paste it onto the week's post. Please then go and read other people's assignments and leave positive comments. If you want to leave a suggestion, you can say, "You may consider," as this is a really affirming way to leave feedback. Another option for engagement is the group co-planning option. Each Saturday or Sunday, I'll facilitate a Google Hangout discussion where the attendees can share a question, a challenge, a concern, or an achievement that they have regarding teacher collaboration. I have found that the weekends are the best time for these sessions since we are an international cohort. John Dewey said that you do not learn from experiences, we learn by reflecting on them. I invite you to record a quick reflection on Flipgrid of what you've learned this week about collaborative mindsets. As much as it benefits you to reflect individually, recording and sharing it helps us as a group reflect as well. If you've watched a reflection, please make sure to record a short response as well. I know that this first week didn't contain specific strategies because it was all about developing your awareness of the collaborative mindsets. But I promise that the rest of the course will contain practical strategies that you can apply immediately to your collaborative work. We just had to set the foundation of collaboration, which is all on our mindsets. Have a great week, and I'll look forward to all the ways you'll interact on Boxer, Google Classroom, and our group co-planning session. Bye!